NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bringing your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, let's go. It's been about a week and a half since my last NetsBoy episode, in which the Nets played 6 games in that stretch and went 5-1, including a 5-game winning streak, which once again was just snapped just the other night against the Bulls, a loss in which I saw coming from a mile away. You know, the second game of a back-to-back on the road, third game in 4 days against a really, really good, talented Bulls team. It was kind of predictable. I kind of thought the Nets would be in it a little bit more down the stretch, since they went about, 3 quarters really being a competitive game, but just fell apart in the fourth quarter. But that, what do you really expect? You could see the Nets kind of got fatigued at the end, kind of lost the energy and lost their legs a little bit, and really struggled to score in that fourth quarter, which is why they got blown out in the fourth. But like I said, very predictable, that loss. But you know what? I'm not going to harp on that, because the Nets did win 5 straight before that. Currently now are 7-4, which is pretty much where I expected them to be 11 games in. So like I said, I'm not really that upset about the Bulls loss, because they've played significantly better than Nets have the last couple games. And there's a number of reasons why. The first one that I'm going to talk about is the ball movement. We're just seeing much better ball movement from this Nets team than we did the first 5 games of the season. I'm not sure if it's just players getting more comfortable with each other or understanding their roles, but I think the Nets had like 34 assists in the win against the Pistons, like 28 against the win against the Hawks. They're just moving the ball, and that's what you want to see from a Steve Nash coach team, is ball movement. And it's been sharp, it's been good. It's been crisp passing. They still turn the ball over a little too much for my taste, but they're making the right pass, they're making the right plays, and they're being efficient and scoring the basketball at a higher rate than they did earlier on in the season. And that's mostly because when you move the ball, the offense has a flow to it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that with this ball movement, we've also seen both Blake Griffin and Joe Harris play a lot better than we did to start off the season. They're both more involved in the offense, and that's because of this ball movement. So we're seeing Blake Griffin playing better. We've seen Joe Harris play better. We've seen a lot of good ball movement, and that's allowing this Nets team offense to thrive, and that's part of why they won 5 in a row. So that's the first thing I've noticed, is the ball movement. The other thing, and this is just a flat-out fact, is that Kevin Durant is just balling right now. I mean, this guy is ridiculous. I mean, I knew Kevin Durant was good, and we saw him in the playoffs, and we saw how he willed the Nets to 7 games against the Bucks. But what we're seeing from this guy right now is it's poetry in motion right now. His ability to score the basketball is with such ease. I mean, appreciate it, Nets fans. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we're experiencing. It's just the efficiency of Kevin Durant on the offensive end, and really just all around. I think he's averaging like 7 rebounds and like 6 assists too. Like, he's just been fantastic. I think he's leading the NBA in scoring right now. Dropped 38 in the Bulls against the Bulls, despite that being a loss, and it was like an effortless 38. So that's the other point, though, is during those 5-game winning streak that they went on, Durant was continuing the ball, very efficient. He actually kind of struggled in the second Pistons game, but because luckily they're playing the Pistons, they're able to overcome that. But other than that, I mean, he's just effortless, and whenever the Nets need a basket, whether it's down the stretch or if they're in a little bit of a rut, if they miss like 3 or 4 shots in a row, Durant takes over and makes the big shot. So that's another major factor of why this Nets won 5 of the last 6 games, has just been the fact that Durant has just been balling outright, and it's great to see. So really appreciate that, Nets fans, because like I said, who knows how long it's going to last. Hopefully for a long time, but we just got to appreciate what we're seeing in Kevin Durant right now. And then finally, the other thing that I've noticed of why the Nets went a little bit on a winning streak was that James Harden simply has been playing better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He has looked much more confident, much more comfortable in the flow of the offense, and he's finally trying to score and not trying to draw fouls. Remember, I harped about that on the last NetsBoy episode. I said when Harden has the ball, he's looking to either pass, shoot a three, or try to get fouled. Well, he wasn't getting the foul calls, so he was just looking to pass or shoot a three. And when his three-point shot wasn't falling, honestly, he was basically at the same level as Rondo, basically, right? Because he wasn't looking to score the ball. If his three-point shot wasn't falling, he wasn't looking to score the ball. He was just looking to get fouled. He wasn't getting that. He was basically at the same level as Rajon Rondo. So that's just the reality of it. But now he's looking to try to score a little bit more, even though he's still not quite at the part that, at the same rate that he was last year with the Nets. But he's still looking to be more aggressive offensively. He's not just always settling for step-back threes, putting the ball on the floor, trying to get to the basket a little bit more. I actually seen him hit a couple mid-range jump shots, which I never, ever really seen him do, even though he used to do that when he was with the Thunder. But he didn't really do that once he went to the Rockets. So I think he started relying on those foul calls. So maybe James Harden needs to understand that he's capable of making a mid-range jump shot and a step back. Maybe he should do that a little bit more. But he's looked better. He has. And he's made big shot after big shot. In that Pistons game, I said Durant struggled a little bit. It was Harden who made the big shots down the stretch. So he's the other reason why this Nets team has looked better. Harden has looked better. Though he's still not where I think he should be, he's looked better. And so those have been the big reasons right there. The ball movement, Kevin Durant playing outstanding, and James Harden playing better. But now, there is one more other reason why this Nets team has looked much better. And that is this amazing resurgence that is LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, wow. This guy looks like the LaMarcus Aldridge of the Portland Trailblazers years. His ability to knock down the mid-range jump shot is almost as much of a given as when Kevin Durant shoots it. He's making threes. He's blocking shots. He's getting rebounds. He's posting up. He's making mid-range jump shots. He's basically been the sixth man for this Nets team right now coming off the bench. Yes, Patty Mills comes off the bench and can light it up as well. But LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, is averaging 14 points right now coming off the bench for the Nets, if not maybe a little bit more. I'm actually not even sure. I haven't checked it. It's just that he has been a major factor for the Nets, and he has been able to carry the Nets, especially in the second unit, which has allowed the Nets to thrive when they're resting Durant or Harden, and it's just been very impressive. I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Remember, LaMarcus Aldridge is 37 years old, but right now, he is the third best player on the Nets right now. Hands down. It's not Joe Harris, it's not Patty Mills, not Blake Griffin. It's LaMarcus Aldridge. Durant, Harden, Aldridge right now. And when those three guys are on, as we've seen this year, the Nets are beating everyone right now. Basically, when those three guys are both scoring 20 points, which I think has happened twice this year, where all three of them scored crack 20, the Nets are going to blow out teams. And it's just impressive to see this from LaMarcus Aldridge, who was just retired halfway through last year. So hopefully he'll be able to sustain it. So he's been the other major factor of why this Nets team has played a lot better. And so you mix all those things together: ball movement, Durant, Harden, Aldridge, better play from Harris and Harden. I mean, and Griffin. Energy from Bembry, who's energy from Bruce Brown. You step back and you say, wow, we're seeing the championship caliber team now, and a much better team than we expected from this Nets team. So very pleased with that. Hopefully they can keep it going. But yeah, in unrelated news, Nicholas Claxton, MIA. He was sick, with a non-COVID related illness. And so he was away for the team for a while. And then most recently I read the Nets actually demoted him to the G League, but they're claiming that's just to build him up gradually because he was very sick and they don't want to, thrust him back into the NBA pace, and become a starter again without him building things up. So that's what I read. That's where Claxton is, which barely anyone's really touched upon. He's in the G League, getting his feet back under him. And so the idea is that he will be back with the Nets eventually, sooner rather than later. But, you know, I mean, Claxton hasn't looked good this year either, and we're seeing LaMarcus Aldridge play well and Blake Griffin play better, so the Nets really don't need Claxton. Though I will say this, Paul Millsap is garbage. All right, I don't understand this guy, what has happened to him. Like, once again, it's early on, but we have not seen anything good from Millsap. He's not rebounding the ball the way we expected to. He's not playing defense the way we expect him to. He's not scoring at all. He's been a complete non-factor on the offensive end. And once again, this guy's older, one of the older players on the Nets, but I expected something from this guy. Yes, he's also only playing 8 minutes a game, but give me something, Millsap. There's no way you're this washed up. But look, if he continues to play like this, maybe we'll see Claxton again back sooner rather than later into the rotation, because he's been just useless, Millsap, useless. But maybe he'll turn it around. Luckily, the Nets don't need to depend on him right now. But yeah. So other than that, overall, I've been pretty pleased from what I've seen. Like I said, 7-4, first 11 games, and they got a couple more winnable games coming up on this long road trip. So let's go take a look at that. So starting with the next game is Wednesday against the Orlando Magic in Orlando. Look, that's got to be a win. I understand you're on the road, but the Magic are one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. There's no reason that the Nets do not win that game. So that should be a win. Then they played the Pelicans, a team right now that's not sure what's going on with Zion, not sure what's going on with their young talent. Dangerous team. You know, Brandon Ingram is still a legitimate player, but once again, that's a game the Nets should be able to win despite it being on the road. Then they have a fun game back at Barclays Center against the Warriors. That game is going to be fun. Warriors look legit again this year. Steph Curry is a man on a mission. Klay Thompson's not even back yet, but he's going to be back soon. And they just look sharp, the Warriors. That could be a loss, but the Nets are the better team. So I want to say the Nets should be able to win that game. And then they got Jared Allen and the Cavs, who have looked really sharp as well this season as well. Dangerous young team, but the Nets should be able to beat. And then they got the Magic again at Barclays Center Friday night, in which that should be a win as well. So the next 5 games for the Nets, actually I went 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I skipped the Thunder. Sorry. I skipped the Thunder in there as well. That's after the Pelicans. One of the worst teams in the NBA, also should be a win. So Magic, Pelicans, Thunder, Warriors, Cavs, Magic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. The Nets should win all 6 of those games. Now, the reality is they probably won't, but I think another 5-1 stretch of games the next 6 is certainly doable, and that's what I'm expecting. Let's put a little bit more perspective on it. Let's give some of these teams the benefit of the doubt. Let's say 4-2. A 4-2 stretch for the Nets. That's what I'm expecting for the Nets to be 11 and no worse than 11-6 after these next 6 games. That is what I'm expecting. I actually think they should really win all 6 of these games, and that would be huge. If they win all 6 of these games, they end up being 13-4. That'd be amazing. But I think 11-6 certainly doable. Anything worse than that, to me, would be a disappointment, because those are some very winnable games for this Nets team that is looking much better. All right, that's it. Let's wrap up this episode. We're not going towards 20 minutes today. Let me know what you guys think about everything, about, how LaMarcus Aldridge is playing. If you want to see more from James Harden, the flow of the offense, Durant being ridiculously amazing right now. If you agree that the Nets should win these next 6 games, anything. Let me know what you guys think. Keep your eyes open to the next NetsBoy episode. Not sure exactly when it will be. Might be another week from now, week and a half like previously. Might be another 6-game stretch. I don't know. I'm always very busy, and I never find some damn time to do these videos, but I'm trying, people. I'm trying. So until then, this is NetsBoy. Being happier than what I've been before. Shot. And signing off.